Hello and welcome to this short video on financial posting periods in SAP Business One. In this video, we're going to take a look at how we will set up new periods. Some of the key points to be noted here are that posting periods must be defined before any transactions can be posted. So if yours is a new system, or if you're about to go into a new year and there are no posting periods set, then you won't be able to post any transactions. We cannot have any overlap between periods, and we're going to take a look at when you get the error date deviates from permissible range, and then we're going to take a look at the period status. So here we are logged into our demonstration system, and if we go to Administration, System Initialization and Posting Periods, we're brought to this window here. Now we can see that we have some old periods already set up here, but if I scroll to the bottom, we want to set up 2021. So to do that, we go to New Period, and we key in the period code, which I'm going to call 2021. The period name, which I'm also going to call 2021. We are going to run this by monthly sub-periods, but you can have just one period in your year. You can divide it into quarters, or you can set it by days. So we're going to do months, and we have 12 months in our period, and the period indicator is default. The period status is unlocked, and there's nothing else we really need to do here. Just double check that the start of your fiscal year date is correct and that the fiscal year name is correct here, and we can add. Now that we've added, we can immediately see that these new periods for 2021 have been created, and each one monthly has been created 0102. So we mentioned here that you can get this error that's called date deviates from permissible range. And this can happen where you're trying to post outside of the due date that has been assigned for these documents. So if we take a look at the 12th period here, we just double click on it. It might be a good idea that the due date on this is set to perhaps the 31st of the 3rd of 21. And the same with the document date, because frequently the periods will overlap. So depending on the month that you're posting to, this is an error that you may receive if the due date or the document date doesn't give you enough time to post for that period. And of course that can apply to any month within a period. So it might be that you need to set your due date and your document date out a little bit longer than the actual month is. And that will depend on your own business requirements. Now when we go back here and we take a look at the period status, we notice that all of the periods were set up with a status of unlocked. And what that means is anybody who is authorized to use the system can post to those periods that are unlocked. Then another posting period status that can be applied is unlocked except for sales. So this might take place at the end of the month when you have all of your sales done, but you're still trying to tidy up those loose ends on the purchasing side of things. Then we can still post to the purchasing side, but we won't make the mistake of posting sales retrospectively to the past period. And again, it's those who are authorized that can do this. Then we have the option of setting the status to period closing. And in this case, the period will be locked to everybody except for maybe the key financial people who are dealing with the closing period actions. So it's only those that are authorized, maybe your accountant or your department lead, will be permitted to do the period closing transactions. But for everybody else, they won't be able to post to this period. And the final posting status then is that of locked. And once a period is marked as being locked, no postings can be made by anybody at all that are not authorized. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't, towards the end of the year, go back and make some changes, but you will have to unlock the period and change it back perhaps to period closing status if you want to make some adjustments. Now, there is another status there called archived. and this is applied by the system. So when your data is more than 2 years old, you have the option of archiving it. And if you run the archiving tool and archive the data, then those periods will be archived and no more postings can be made to those periods. So that's all I wanted to cover in this video. We mentioned that the posting periods must be defined before any transactions can be posted. We said that we can't have any overlap in the period dates. We mentioned what happens if we get the following error, which is date deviates from permissible range. It can be simply the case that maybe your due date or your document date is falling outside of your posting period, and that may be permissible by your company, but if it hasn't been set up for your posting periods, then you will get this error.